'Twas Christmas in Camelot, King Arthur's court, where the great and the good of the land had gathered, all the righteous lords of the ranks of the Round Table, quite properly carousing and reveling in pleasure. Time after time, in tournaments of joust, they had lunged at each other with levelled lances, then returned to the castle to carry on their caroling. For the feasting lasted a full fortnight and one day, with more food and drink than a fellow could dream of. The hubbub of their humor was heavenly to hear, pleasant dialogue by day and dancing after dusk. So the house and its hall were lit with happiness, and lords and ladies were luminous with joy.
They made making go on in this manner until mealtime. Then washed and worthy, they went to the table and sat and were seated in order of honor as was apt. With Guinevere and Gawain gloriously framed at her place on the platform, pricelessly curtained by silk to each side, and canopied across with French weave and fine tapestry from the Far East, studded with stones and stunning gems, pearls beyond pocket, pearls beyond price of riches. But not one stone outshone the courts of the queen's eyes. With hand on heart, no one could argue otherwise. But Arthur would not eat until all were served. He brimmed with endurance, being most boyish in his love of life, and what he liked the least was to sit still, watching the seasons slip by. His blood was busy, and he buzzed with thoughts, and the matter which played on his mind at the moment was his pledge to take no portion from his plate.
Now on the subject of supper, we'll say no more, as it's obvious to everyone that no one went without. Because another sound, a new sound, suddenly drew near, which might signal the king to sample his supper. For barely had the horns finished blowing their breath, and with starters just spooned to the seated guests, a fearful form appeared, framed in the door. A mountain of a man immeasurably high, a hulk of a man from head to hips, so long and thick in his loins and his limbs I should genuinely judge him to be half a giant, or a most massive man, the mightiest of mortals. In fact, in all features he was finely formed, it seemed. Amazement seized their minds. No soul had ever seen a knight of such a kind, entirely immortal.
And he kicked on, cantering through that crowded hall, towards the top table, not the least bit timid, not sure of himself, sitting high in the saddle. And who, he bellowed, without breaking a breath, is governor of this gaggle? I'll be glad to know. It's with him and him alone that I'll have my say.
Then the king acknowledged this strange occurrence, addressed him, keeping his cool. And a warm welcome to you, sir, on this cold winter's night. My name is Arthur, and I am the lord of this house. Won't you slide from your saddle and stay a while, and the business which has brought you here we shall learn later on. No, replied the knight, it is not in my nature to idle or lack about this evening, but because because acclaims are so loudly chorus, your men being the strongest and the mightiest of knights to ever be known into this world, I have been drawn to your door this time of nights. Be assured by this holly stem here that I mean you no menace. For if I had slogged here tonight to slay and to slaughter, surely my hauberk and my helmet wouldn't have been left at home, and my sword and my spear would have been at my side, and more weapons of war, as you are well aware. I'm clothed for peace, not knit for combat. But if you're half as honorable as folk say you are, you'll grant me this game that I have claimed as my rights. Knight most courteous, answered Arthur, your claim is a fair, unarmored fight. We'll see you have the same.
I'm spoiling for no scrap, I swear. Besides, the bodies on these benches are just bum-filled brains. If I'd ridden to your castle rigged out in ruck, these lightweight adolescents wouldn't last a minute. But it is Yuletide, a time of youthfulness, yes? So, at Christmas in this court, I lay down a challenge. If a person here, present with the premises, is big or bold or red-blooded enough to strike me at one stroke on this gigantic cleaver, and this axe shall be his to handle how he likes. I'll kneel, bare my neck, and take the first knock. So who has the gall, the gumption, the guts? Who will spring as his own? I'll afford one free hit from which I won't flinch, and promise that 12 months will pass in peace, and then calm, the duty I deserve in 1 year and 1 day. Does anyone have the nerve to wager this way?
Your request, he countered, is quite insane, and folly finds the man who flirts with the fool. No warrior worth his salt would worry about your words, so in heaven's name, hand me over the axe, and I will fulfill this favor you so desire.
By Guinevere, Gawain now to his king inclines and says,
This moment must be mine!